Hey guys, Fox here, and today we're going to be doing the Week 10 USFL review for the 2022 season. This week was the final week of the regular season for the USFL's first ever season, showing that the league did end up succeeding in their quest to, make it through a full regular season. But we still have the playoffs left, and we still have to talk about these games, because one of these games was really important, and a couple of them were just kind of reinforcing old stereotypes. First of all, the Stars ended up losing to the Generals 26-23. The Stallions were able to topple the Bandits 21-18. The Panthers beat the Maulers 33-21. And the Breakers lost to the Gamblers 20-3. So to start out with the Stars-Generals game, the game was overall a very tight-knit game. The Generals were able to truly, I think, get an advantage heading into the playoffs, and that's because they were able to show both quarterbacks. Both quarterbacks played extremely well. They both had over 110 QBR. And we're both passing the ball with great efficiency, especially considering that DeAndre didn't even throw a touchdown and still had over a 110 QBR is insane. And aside from that, the Stars really they played a decent game overall. Mainly it's just that Cookus wasn't as good as either of the two quarterbacks, but they did have a chance to win the game at the end, but ultimately an interception on their final drive after actually converting the 4th and 12 alternate kickoff ended up losing them the game. Now for the Stallions versus Bandits, the ending was like almost every single loss the Bandits have had in the last 5 weeks. They lost because they had 4 plays to get a first down and failed to do so. They did it again. And that ended the game for them. As for how they did on the score-wise and stuff like that, overall, it was a very big deal for really the Stallions. The Stallions ended up having to bench Jamar. Jamar was playing really terrible in the beginning, and of course you don't want him getting hurt either. So when Alex Mugu came in, he was better, but he wasn't nearly that good, which is, to me, is going to make a lot of people think this team might not win the first round, but the first round is against the weaker playoff team as well, so we don't know. As for the Bandits, their total ground game was horrid yet again. Yes, you're seeing a 4 yards per carry for their totals, but note that their best rusher only had 22 yards. And then as for Tamu himself when he threw the ball and his backup, they combined to do not that well. It was another ugly game played by both teams and pretty much reinforces why the Stallions have lost a lot of faith heading into the playoffs and why the Bandits are not going to the playoffs. The Panthers versus Maulers. I will be doing a video on this game, so let's not talk about it. The Breakers and the Gamblers, though, the last game of the regular season in the USFL, it was basically the Gamblers finally being able to play a game the way that they should be able to play. The Breakers decided to start their backup, which I respect, to make sure Slaughter doesn't get hurt. They started Shea Patterson and Smith, their two guys. And, Patterson proved to be why he got benched he was chosen to be cut rather than cut Paxton Lynch. Whereas Lynch had a good game, which, as I said, I'll talk about in a later video. Patterson wasn't that good. He went 9 for 15 with only 36 yards. Team got pwned. The Gamblers just played a legit good game. Kenji Bahar was mediocre, but what really mattered was LeMay had a really solid game, 70 yards with 5 yards per carry, and their defense was insane. You had interceptions, you had sacks, you had blocked kicks, you had this team was able to prove that they are legit. Chris Odom is just, he's running away with every single defensive thing to me. I think it's pretty clear to say that he deserves to win Defensive Player of the Year, honestly. So, it's pretty much just like that. And then, as for this week overall, I think all it did was really reinforce some of these teams heading into the playoffs. Because, really, if I'm a Breakers fan, even though I know we played our backups, the way in which we got totally clowned on by the Gamblers isn't good. If I'm a Stallions fan, I'm upset that we once again seem to play down to our competition. And also considering the fact that the last time those two teams played, it was ugly. As for the Stars-Generals matchup, that's going to be a great playoff game. Though, I feel like the Generals do have an advantage. But overall, this has been Fox. If you enjoy this content, want to be notified as soon as I upload a new video, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. And as always, have a great night.